Good evening, everyone. Another episode of Unheralded Heroes. We have on a special guest, Miss Rosalyn Reid, who I met at Trampoline a few months ago. Entrepreneur extraordinaire. She's already given me some great advice on the Enterprise Hub program. And today I've invited her on to give us some golden nuggets and help educate the audience of how to, start a business and be successful. Not just, have one, not making money in the background. So, could you tell us a bit more about yourself, Rosalind?
Thank you, Sean, for such a wonderful, endearing introduction. So, as Sean said, I'm Rosalyn Reid, and I'm an entrepreneur. So, my journey started probably I was in my earlyish 20s, and I just decided that at that time there was a lot of hip hop dancing going on. So I decided to have this kind of dance classes for the local children. And I had some friends who were teenagers, older teenagers, and they used to do hip hop dancing. So I got them as dance teachers. And that's how my journey started. I applied to the Princess Trust and I got a small grant and I was able to buy some music equipment. Used to charge a small fee, would cover the rental of the hall. They did a couple of performances and yeah, that was my first business where I was actually had something that was regularly running. So it was a weekly dance class. So that's my taste into entrepreneurship.
So what inspired you to continue with that? Because I know some people get disheartened once they don't have success, or they're thinking, "Oh, I've outgrown this now, and maybe I should just get a conventional job." What's the
I
qualities you
think
have to have inside?
I think it's because I think I like projects and I'm a starter. So I'm a person who likes starting things, making it all happen, and probably then walking away. So I was never really into conventional jobs. So a lot of the work that I did, even when I worked, it was for a long, long time. I used to do temp work, so always changing, always meeting new people. So I really enjoy meeting people. I actually am a people person. I actually like people, and I know everyone's not like that. So I
No,
think you need to know your strengths. Like some people, it's not like they don't like people, but they're just not, they don't want to engage in that kind of way. I love a crowd, yes, you'll find me squashed up against the wall in carnival.
no.
um, I like people, so it's kind of natural for me to go into entrepreneurship because I like meeting people, I like mixing with people. So I think I continued because I like projects. So the dance class was my first business. Then I went into hat making. So I used to make back in the day, showing my age. The felt hats were very popular. And I
Okay.
used to make different types of felt hats, high, low, So if you had long locks, I used to make ones quite high for people with long locks, and
No.
then I made felt hats and I used to sell those. Then I think that I was in my 20s still, and still in my 20s. Then I started a catering company with a business partner. So that's the first time I had a registered business. So it was a limited company and I had a business partner. And, I we broke all the stereotypes. So you're talking about a long time ago, showing my age, 30 years ago. And we had a registered business. We had at first we didn't have business premises, so we used to do our catering and we used to use the kitchen. And so we didn't actually have premises, so we used to use the premises of like place where we worked. And we had access to an accountant through my work because one of the people who would worked in the same floor as me was an accountant, so he got us to help us to get our accounts. And because we was able to do proper accounts, he enabled us to. We did a financial forecast, which I don't hear a lot of people talk about these days, of how we were going to build our business and how the business going to progress, how we're going to get the contracts. And so we was able to get a bank loan from HSBC.
Serious. Yeah, I don't really
Yeah,
they don't really give out loans to small and medium businesses these days, do they?
Well, the thing is that I think the error people. So if you listen to what I said, how
Mm.
many people do that? I don't hear people talk about financial forecasts. People don't even want to talk about money.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think if you want someone to give you money, they want to know how you're going to repay back the loan. So if
Mm.
you create a financial forecast and you're saying, no, this is my projected how much we think we're going to earn per month. This is where the money is going to come from. This is what we're going to spend the money on. This is how we're going to build our business and how that investment is going to lead to this, that. Then for a bank, they go, okay, then they got a plan. They know what they're doing. And especially if you do more than a 12-month forecast, it's even better. And you've got it on a spreadsheet and it's presented. So that's what we did. Then we got loan and then we got a release day kitchen. And that was the mistake we made. We should have just used somebody else's kitchen. We actually got premises because we wanted to go into contract catering,
Mm.
which was like go into like local councils or and get Meals on Wheels contract so that we will have like X amount of money coming in every single month because we got a contract with a large institution. And then we used to do weddings. And so when we started doing weddings, people used to say to us, oh, when you do weddings, the groom and the bride and the groom will never give the money up front. You have to wait. And every single wedding we had, they paid all the money up front.
That's it. That's
So,
it.
and this, you're talking about 30 years ago. So when people are talking now, it's because you're not, you have to be clear and intentional of what type of business you want to operate. So we took the money up front. We did catering for like the racial equality unit. Did catering for Camden Council. But the thing is that we delivered on time.
Okay.
So if someone ordered food from us and they said they wanted it 1 minute past 7, we would deliver it at 1 minute past 7. No, the food would be ready, delivered there, ready for 1 minute past 7. So sometimes we used to get catering contracts and they'll say, oh, can you bring the food? And we'll bring the food hot. And they go, oh, we're not going to eat it for another 2 hours. So we go like, why did you order it? Oh, because all the other Caribbean catering is always late.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was our
It's,
reputation,
it's a that's a
unfortunately.
unique selling point. Mm. Mm, that's
Yeah,
it.
and we bust that myth every single time. Our food was very good quality. We costed it well because my business partner, she worked within Meals on Wheels, so she knew how to cost the meal to a pinch of salt. So we
Okay.
know exactly how much that cost. So we made profit every single event we did.
That's it. To be fair, when I started, well, obviously, I don't have the experience you have. I got Palo Alto, the software company in California. They developed this thing called like the world class business plan. So it was on an old kind of CD-ROM. So them time you had to still,
Mm.
and he just gave you the template. You typed it in, and then you could convert it into a Word document or PDF through it. So I just thought, and it wasn't that much money. It was like £69, 99.
Okay.
I used to say, people, why don't you just do that? And then I done business A level at college. So they used to tell you about, I already knew about from a teenager about economies of scale and things like this. But I realized some people didn't put all together or the financial forecasting, they weren't confident on it. So that's why they used to leave it out. But I thought that was a standard of any business plan, no matter what area that you financial forecast to be part of it, until I got old and I realized how many people have managed to limp by and get by without one. So I said,
Yeah.
I guess that's why banks reduce the amount of money they give to small and medium enterprises, especially when they've got no track record.
And I think I mean, I don't know what how the landscape is lies now because I haven't gone to a bank. I haven't actually engaged with a bank in terms of business loans.
Mm.
But I think is that what I'm finding with businesses, particularly product-based businesses, not even just product-based, but even service businesses, is that the other thing is that they don't actually know that they're charging the correct amount of money. They're
Mm.
not
Mm.
costing things correctly. So I had a mentee who she did various things. She was a coach, um, but she do also in within the organisation I work for, as well as in my own private business.
Mhm.
Um, I encourage money streams, that you should have a business that has many money streams. So you
Okay.
shouldn't be just locked into one. You should have your main, but you should have different streams of generating money. So one of her streams is that she used to teach private dance lessons
Okay.
to individuals. And then I said to her, how much she charge? She goes, oh, I charge X amount. I said, why do you charge that amount? Because, oh, that's what everyone else charges. I said, have you costed it? You have to cost in your clothes. You have to cost in your shoes. If you buy a bottle of water during a class, you need to cost that in. You need to cost in your bus fare or when you with the petrol for your car. She goes, yeah, but I thought you just write it off as a loss. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, she's not good.
So if you buy a pair of shoes and you're teaching dance classes and you got 5 clients, you divide the cost of the shoes across the 5 clients over the space of, you say, average my shoes last 3 months, 4 months, because I'm teaching every week. Then you divide it over the 3 months, and those clients should cover the cost of those pair of shoes.
Mm.
And she was just taken back. But what she did, she was very resistant. I could see that she was glitching, and but she went away and processed it and came back with a spreadsheet with breaking down her costs.
So you helped her. Yeah. Well, she must have been grateful for after that then. Jesus.
Yeah, because I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
Something she obviously wasn't aware of. So you've got to think of it, said, oh, she's actually helping me here. It's not a particular critique. That's a critique to help boost me, to improve.
I think the thing is, I think she just thought you just swallow it. You swallow that cost. And I'm like, that's not business. You're providing a service or product, everything is included. It's the same if you've got a product, you should cost in everything to the paper bag that you put the product in, the plastic that you wrap it in, the utensils you might have to use to maybe make something, or when you order and the costing of the post and package, everything should be costing your price. And I think before you could go to a bank for money or anybody for a sort of investment, you need to know how much your unit cost is.
It's true. It's true. I agree with you. But yeah, some of those things though, like you said, with the shoes and that, and spreading it over 3 or 4 months, a lot of people think, oh, that might make my class prices too much then, and it'd be, oh, it's too expensive, so I'll go elsewhere. That's why I think a lot of especially people that start out, they're worried about that, being coming to the market and no one buying it and they fold.
And the problem is that how do you work out then how much profit are you making?
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I agree with you.
You can be making none. You could be taking your wages to support your business. And if you're, like you offer services, you're supposed to cost in your clothes within your service.
Sure.
Yes, you do. You should have particular clothes that you wear for delivering your service. You should differentiate it, and part of differentiating, from your work, your private life, and your business life is because you switch roles, you switch your mindset. You're now offering a service to a client. It's not like talking to your friend down the road in a park or or your mum and your dad, no, these are people who are expecting a service, and you should have a way of delivering yourself with that in mind. So you're not talking them too informally, because you're there in a professional setting and they expect something. So yes, I think what people get mixed up of being, it's good to be friendly, but you'll be friendly professionally.
Okay.
It's really important. You think, oh yeah, but it's all right in that setting. Now, you offer a service in a particular setting that you're comfortable in, where you're really over friendly. Can you transfer that same service to a setting where it's like Chelsea, it's like Hertfordshire? And this is where we get up into issues, because then the relationship is totally different. You don't know the terrain, you don't know the people, they don't know you. They don't even understand people who come from your background, and then you're engaging with them in a manner which is, to them, will come unprofessional. So I do have, a uniform that I wear for work, I wear for business, and then I have a uniform when I wear when I'm out, or when I'm just chilling with my friends or with my partner or whatever. So I think we have to kind of like get in, because it enables us to kind of like switch. Why am I here? What am I doing? Who's in front of me? And being really clear about that. It doesn't mean you can't be friendly. But your client is your client. They can become your friend, but they're your client first and not your friend first.
That's it. That's it. See, golden nuggets, everyone, gems. Uh, So going forward, how did you expand and grow? And then how was things after you finished with the catering?
Oh my gosh, the catering, that one, this is the thing. Don't go far too fast too soon. Success can be a failure. Our success was our failure. We went too fast too soon. Then we kind of like, in a way, I just dropped the ball. I was young. I was like, oh well, and then just let it fell apart. And the mistake I made was that, okay, my business partner got pregnant. She got married. She got pregnant. So you can't have two babies. You can't be trying to. I mean, now the women are different. You talk about 30 years ago. And if I remember right, she doesn't carry pregnant. Not all women carry pregnancy
Yeah, no,
well.
no, no,
So,
no, no, no.
so sometimes it's just, yeah, it's a lot of pressure on the body.
Some
And
that
if they've got a
more, I see
job,
some that waddle and then they can barely get out of the chair and then they breathe funny. Yeah, and then I've seen others that walk around like a trooper, like it like it's just look carrying a rucksack. So yeah, yeah, it's all different. Yeah, yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it myself.
exactly.
Mm,
And my mistake was that everybody in a business is replaceable. I should just found another chef.
mm. Oh, so she was the chef as well. She was the chef as well as the. Okay, that's serious.
Yeah. So, I just go, and I threw it away really. I mean, we to that point, we were very successful.
Mm,
People loved our food and everything. And it's that this is when you don't have business acumen and you don't have business knowledge. And you don't have anyone to go to. So, one of the other things I'll say to people, even when you're starting out, have your go-to business people. There could be someone you don't know, but you like what they do, and you just make friends with them and say, like, oh, if I need any business advice, do you mind just give me some pointers? I don't want to take up too much of your time, but is there anything I can do for you? If you share something with me, can I do something for you? And have someone in the corner. So when you get to that kind of difficult decision points or crux, you got someone to talk to.
mm.
I didn't really have nothing. We knew what we was doing, but it's only when you're faced with challenges that you've never faced before that
Yeah.
you realize that you don't actually have the business knowledge, acronym skills, understanding. How do you pivot this now?
Mm. Yeah, I've seen that myself. I'm not the best at it, but there's a one time I used to work in a bar near where I live, and I was trying to get these pop chips that I'd made with these Malaysian and Vietnamese fellas. Funny enough, they're the one that gave me the connection to actually get my seasoning into a manufacturer, but I had to pay them a thousand.
Mm,
So he said, "Oh, the pop chips, Sean, I'm not making any money. This bag, how much?" He said you're getting them for like less than £3 a unit. I said, what you do, you're sending the whole bag. I said, pour some out in a bowl like you do with your peanuts and sell the bowl and maybe do a drink deal with this. And he's like, oh, I never thought of that. I said, but you're the bar manager, general manager, sorry. I said, now you're showing your bar manager in the background. So I said, I'm not no super businessman, but I'm thinking,
mm,
let's put in a bowl and sell it according to the bowl, so that way you get at least 7, 8 servings out of the bag. So that way you're making much more than what you bought it from us for. Yeah, but I was surprised. And look, that was a general manager in charge of
yeah,
like 12 staff. Yeah. And the capacity of the place is what, yeah, what, maybe around 150, 180 punters every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, every week. And he had to cash up and yeah, so yeah, yeah, it's true. You do see things like that. But I guess his background was more of a bar manager level, and the general manager is something he was promoted into. So he wasn't thinking like that. He was just like good at the cashing up, the logistics, making sure the alcohol was in there, making sure staff was paid and things like that. So, but yeah, that's when I realized, yeah, the business acumen is a bit more than just doing those kind of administrative tasks, logistics. Mm.
exactly. And I think it's just that willingness to just upskill, whether it's upskill your physical, practical skills or your knowledge bank. And sometimes we go and gain some knowledge that we don't need to use it right now, but we've got that in our bank. So when we
Yeah,
do
so I
need
do,
to
bro.
access it,
Mm.
yeah.
That's it.
So this is so for me. I've said that was business number whatever three or thing, and then there was a little gap, a little break,
Mhm.
and then I was encouraged to. I wasn't working, and then um, I met this again. See, yeah. Sometimes you forget the things you do, and then I met this local business advisor in Brixton. And he said to me, I said, oh, I'm not sure what to do. And he said, oh, if you go self-employed, you'll actually end up with more benefit money, you know.
Okay.
So why don't you just get, so literally I went self-employed to start a business because I knew financially would be better off. And then I then for somehow, I can't remember how it came about though. I got a contract to work. I think it was that first contract, I think that was time banking. So
Okay.
I got a contract doing time banking. And so, and that's how that journey started. So I became self-employed. I registered myself as a self-employed person with my business, Shining Life, and so that's how that consultancy work started. So then I always kind of liked community-based type projects,
Okay.
and I like to empower the community in kind of community development, but kind of the skill assets, helping them to increase their skills, knowledge and understanding about their own life, about well-being, about health. So that's how I went into my next business venture. So as a sole trader and offering my knowledge and skills. And
Okay.
so that business, I registered that as a self-employed. So we will go into that for those who don't understand kind of like different types of businesses. And and that went on for a number of years. I delivered part of that journey. I delivered a project for NHS Lewisham, which was about um, African and Caribbean women not going for their mammograms, so it's breast cancer awareness. And I joined up with a friend of mine who's a professional storyteller. So all of her life, she's been a storyteller since the age of 19, and
Mm.
she's quite mature now. And so this is the thing, like along the journey, you meet people who are making money from very unusual, maybe pathways, particularly for
Yes,
someone
yes.
who's people who are melanated, where you wouldn't expect. So how does a melanated person make a life a living out of storytelling? Well, she's now world renowned. She travels the world storytelling. She's told, she's been in Buckingham Palace and storytelling for the royal family. She's gone all over the place. And so at a time she was not so famous. So we did this project together and brought in storytelling and looking at women and how they think about their bodies and brought in professional. It's a very unusual project actually. This is how my brain thinks. So it was bringing professionals from the local area. So people work for the councils or in big institutions with local women, and that's looking at how when it comes to body awareness, the challenges. It doesn't matter what part of aspects of life you come from, the challenges are the same. So we had these women who came together, and a lot of them had issues around their body. So if you've got issues around your body, why would you go and get yourself screened?
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, and then some of the issues what came out is that even a service, people had problems with the service, with the actual breast cancer awareness service. So we delivered the project the way I did it, and I had a photographer come in, I had a videographer. So the way I did the evaluation, I videoed the evaluation.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it was documented. I lost the CD, unfortunately, and the person who made the CD for me, they didn't have a spare copy. And then my storyteller, she lost her. So it's quite. I didn't lose actually. I sent it to someone to consider for another project, and they lost it. So this is the other thing. When you've got something really important, do not give it or send it to other people
Yeah.
unless you've made, you've copied it. So
There was
none of
no
us have
cloud
got a
those
copy.
times there, was there? There was no like cloud or flash drive that you could go.
Um, it could the thing is we put it on a CD, but we didn't get permission to be able to upload it onto like a YouTube or something like that. So it's this is something that your intellectual property is a really significant thing because it's like if you don't protect that, is that then what proof have you got that it happened? I mean, I've got other elements that is there. There's a little clip I think of the project on YouTube or somewhere. But it was, yeah, but it's this thing of really understanding how important it is to document and have evidence of the things that you create.
Mm, mm.
Because that thing could leverage you to the next level. So that, yeah, so that was one of the parts of things I did as a consultant. And then so what we did is that, and we took a lot of beauty, because like the other thing was that when we see pictures of people, melanated people, sometimes on project, they're not taken very well. People don't know how to light us correctly. So when you see the pictures, if the person is their melanin is dark, you can't hardly see them. And so
Yeah,
I found this really wonderful. I went to an event, I think it was a ball, and she took a picture of me in black and white, and it was amazing. She knew how to capture melanated skin, and she was a white woman.
okay.
And so I got her to come, and she took the photos of the women were amazing, and she captured them like in their joy. It was so amazing, the photos. Some of the photos I've still got the ones of my mum and my niece. She was kind of got part of the project because she went to people's houses and took them like in the pictures of them in the garden. And it was just, yeah, the way what she did was amazing. So the women got those, and then I gave them gifts. Like I think it was like a nice, beautiful cup as a gift of a thank you for being part of the project. And then we had a conference at the end as well, where and what happened was from that we had about 3 or 4 women who became advocates in their community from that project.
Yes, it is. See, that's very
Mm,
successful then, see? So
yeah.
you still doing that? You still doing that now? The time banking.
No, that you see, so I did all of that, and what happened was that soon after we finished that project, we're thinking, oh, we can roll this out to different boroughs, and they cut all the funding for that. They put a freeze on it.
Yeah, no, that happens with the civil service and local authorities. Yeah.
Well, NHS, this was the NHS, and to be quite honest, so this was the time when they used to do a lot of preventative health work. So there was a lot of money invested in preventative. So there was a lot of investment, and from the time they cut that investment, that's when you've seen the decline in people's health across the
Okay.
UK.
But to be fair,
Is
they talk
because
about that now,
from
though, investing, because, like, for instance, I've seen a project now about bowel cancer, and then they're trying to get screening for prostate for men. So
yeah,
this
but
they're
the
coming
gap
back.
was but the gap was probably 10 years. So
Okay.
you can't.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
can't.
mean, so
Yeah.
the, yeah, the impact has already happened. So now you're backpedaling.
Happening to try and catch.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that
that
was quite disappointing. And I think
it
this
is.
is
Yeah,
the other
it's
thing is,
disappointing. It is. It is.
yeah,
Mm.
when you're going into projects, especially when you're looking for them to be funded or invested from large institutions, is that they can be cut. And so if you really think it's what you're doing is really important, you should look up for investments outside these institutions. So look at private and corporate money that no matter what happens, you can still deliver that service that many times the community really needs, regardless if their funding get cut or they decide to divert the money to something else, which happens a lot. So I think you have to think about your model, even if your business is purely social.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
still a business.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. That's why I started this podcast because I said, look, I want to sell merchandise, maybe eventually have membership events, so that way I don't have to be relying on grants or going cap in hand to local authorities or corporate companies. Yeah, because that's the thing with sustainability, as you said, as the landscape changes, like like the dinosaurs, they got wiped out. Same like blockbusters.
Exactly.
Blockbusters the next week. I never thought blockbusters be finished as a kid, and then to see
Hold that.
4 or 5 years.
Hold that. All these big Woolworths,
Yeah,
you
I
keep on
know, I
looking
know.
there,
W.H.
those
Smith. W.H. Smith cheese. I thought they W.H. Smith has
exactly.
been around before my great grandparents were born, and it's gone. What's that American company that's brought it out now? I forget what it's called now. Whatever the funny sign, the logos that said my word.
Oh, was it
Yeah,
TGT
yeah, exactly.
Jones or
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. T.G.J. Jones. Yeah, it said,
yeah, yeah.
how is that
And you
possible?
can be, what's that?
Yeah,
What's that?
It's only because I realized where I live, they're the big still had the big WH Smiths up to last year. And then when I saw, what's this logo changing? And I saw in the papers they got bought out by an America. Said that is a staple that has been around since the day I had sense to my 40s. So I said, how is that possible? And that's been around from like the Victorian era. It's frightening. And obviously you're thinking there's nothing sacred, nothing, invincible. Or
It's not that. I think what COVID has taught many people, and even before COVID, I think that Kodak is that you got to know when to pivot. You can't be, oh well, things will never change. Things will always change. You have to have. I think even if you don't have people in your organization, you should get advice from younger people what's happening next. You need to know what's happening next. You need to be on the ball. Everything changes. It doesn't even if you're in like your work is more social, but even in that it changes. So
Mhm.
sometimes the need is somewhere else. So
Oh,
maybe
clearly
the
not.
need is yeah, need is mostly now we're talking about single parents or they might shift the need where the need now becomes, financially strapped, married parents.
Mm.
You have to pivot. And I think one thing I learned, I mean, lockdown was a total kind of craziness for me because I didn't have no internet connection. So when people were making money, I couldn't make up. I had no internet, my phone wouldn't work properly. It was total disaster for me. So I wasn't one of them people who made loads of money during lockdown. I was totally, oh, well, actually, I enjoyed life. So I was roaming the streets and all sorts of things. But I wasn't one of the people who was really able to pivot. And I think you need to know how to pivot and when to pivot.
Okay.
And lockdown showed that many businesses didn't know how to pivot,
Yeah, no,
so they
even big
died.
corporates though. That's the thing. It wasn't just small and medium, big corporates. I remember
Yeah,
Leon, that restaurant Leon with the kind of middle of the range healthy food where it's just within the reach of like a normal salary. But then one fella came and said, listen, start delivering in lockdown. And even though they did, I've noticed they've started to reduce their actual storefronts. I've seen,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So it's not just us, it's corporates that get caught as well. Not blockbusters. Who is bigger than blockbusters when it comes to movies and films? I saw that
yeah.
in
But
three
they didn't. They
years
didn't
on.
pivot. They didn't realize that things are going to go digital. They didn't know things are going to go online. You need to know when to pivot. They could have just. Apparently, there was a story. I'm sure it was them that they were approached and they said, "Nah, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
going to
yeah. They were.
change."
Netflix have said buy
Yeah,
them out when they were struggling because they were
yeah,
doing, I think, selling things in bags and that. And they're like, oh no, it's just a fad. No, that will never take off. And look, they turned it around and now they're massive, massive,
yeah.
bigger than everyone, market leader. But they struggled. Though.
Exactly.
It wasn't linear. It wasn't all the way up, up, up. There was a lot of ups and downs to get to
Yeah.
today. So, to fair play to the people that created that, because that was genius. So after the lockdown, how did you find the enterprise journey, the business? Because you said,
Okay, so what happened? So once the I went into the consultancy with the Shining Enough, then what happened was before the lockdown, I then pivoted again, and so part of the Shining Enough became products. So I started creating health products.
okay,
So again, using your name and pivoting and diverting your business. And so I had a product that I used to sell for quite a few years. I, I had more than one product, but it's two main ones that I used to sell and had it in shops and things like that. And then so up to even up to lockdown, I was still doing that. And then lockdown, everything just kind of crashed. And it's the other thing within businesses, life happens. So I end up being a carer, full-time carer for my mum.
okay.
Daytime carers came in, but I was living with her and she had dementia. And so just before lockdown, 2019, she died. So she died in the November.
Mm.
I managed to get a job that started, I think it was in the February. By the March, everything was all over. So I was kind of going through
I remember.
like this massive change of now I'm not supporting my mom and she's not here and that. And then I have a job, then I ain't got a job. And so lockdown for me was a real, difficult. I made a lot of wrong decisions. I think you have sometimes when you have these massive changes in your personal life, in business, sometimes you have to just kind of like take your time. And I tried to throw myself back in too quickly,
Okay.
getting a business coach, this, that, all this stuff, and it was just too much. And so it took the recovery of the loss of my mum, and because whether you're grieving is one thing, but the other thing is that your life is different. So
Mm.
all of a sudden your life is about that your loved one, you love when you love one, and then
They're
you're
gone.
not. And all the people what come, because with that, all the people, all the things, all
Mm.
all
Are you
the
okay?
medical.
Checking up on you, the arrangement
Yeah,
afterwards. Yeah.
yeah. There's all these appointments and things, and then everything stops. And then it was that, then we had a lockdown and losing my job. And then it just, yeah, so it was just too much. And I think it was just too much too soon. So I think anybody who's going through that kind of struggle where they've like their personal life is quite difficult, is like have a cut back, slow things down. Or I won't say completely halt things, but I think slow them right down and take your time,
Mm.
and then, see how you can maintain things even in a small way until your personal situation changes. Because otherwise, you just put a lot of pressure on yourself, and you're either something's gonna happen
Yeah,
one
no,
way or another.
I agree with you. But at one point, I got really sick and I had to put my Buchanan Enterprises into dormancy. And they were still telling me about they want accounts. I said, I thought dormancy, you never had to do all that. I never even knew.
Yeah, you see it?
And they were harassed. I said, what do you want me to do? Send thing beyond the grave from hospital, from intensive care? And I said, come on, you can't be released. But to be fair, because of that, they kind of fobbed off the fines and let me start being. But I know a lot of people that like how they just thought, oh no, and then they're, oh, all this money and oh, what am I supposed to do? And they get frazzled. I've seen it.
Mm,
That's why I try to tell, especially my close people, said, look, be careful with that because even though you to put in dormancy and you got serious health issues, the machine goes on. They don't care. Once they tell you the rules is the rule, they don't really. You can use that as if you write to them in formally and tell them as a mitigating circumstance. But if you don't do that, I think just because you told them on the phone, then nope, they're telling you they want them on. They want them on. Yeah, yeah. So
exactly.
yeah, so yeah, it's a serious thing. That's why I'm glad well like what you're doing with the hub and that you showcase this to people because a lot of normal business coaches they won't. They're very clinical, technical information, legislation around it, but not the kind of changing of circumstances and their mindset and looking after yourself if something does go wrong and you're not able to keep up with the kind of statutory compliance stuff. And then
Yeah,
where me and you will say, you know what, we'll have compassion on you. I said institutions they don't unless you give them proof evidence and tell them from when the dates. They're like, no,
exactly.
yeah, they're very clinical like that. So then remember, there's no compassion from them. They're just saying, no, the rules are the rules, and we want our money. Mm. Mm.
Exactly. But I mean, we haven't got a lot of time, but so what happened was that, like yourself, I ended up on one of the trampoline is the company that Sean has been doing a business program on, and I was on that program. So I went on that program, and then from that program, I ended up working for trampoline. So I was developing my business then. So then it was like then I was kind of slowly building it, but now it's like I want to get back into building my business. So my business is mindset reset, and my main thing is accelerating other businesses or accelerating people,
Okay.
because people make business. So is that how can I help you to move things along quicker? So now I'm really kind of honed in to mainly small businesses, either personally supporting and helping to accelerate the person or helping to accelerate the business and the person. Because I think you cannot just take away, because what I'm meeting as businesses, a lot of the time their struggles of not doing certain things within their business is to do with personal matters
Mm.
and not have enough support or
Mm.
trying to get support for the business and not getting anybody who's reliable and it's so I realized that sometimes you just need a kickstart and you need someone to bounce ideas off. So I'm that person. And mindset reset is that thing of like you have to constantly kind of check on yourself, like am I going the right way? If it's not, then I need to reset my mindset around certain things. So I don't think there's you just change your mindset and it's just a full stop. I think there's times where you need to reset yourself. and look at things in a different way, bringing you knowledge and understanding, or change your attitude. Sometimes we can be quite fixed about things. And so when people talk to us about our baby, because the
Mm.
other thing people I say to people, you
Get
need to let
defensive. They
go.
get defensive.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the thing is, I think people sometimes are more precious about their business than their actually own children or love to, because it's mine. What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
Or you just see
I've
their
been doing
body
this for a long
language.
time. Who are you to
Yeah,
tell me? I've been doing this for long. Yeah, no, no.
yeah. And I've been working, I used to work in the field, and you
Mm.
know what?
Mm.
I know. No, you don't. We don't of us know everything. You have knowledge,
Yeah,
but
mm.
yeah. And if
Mm.
you come to someone, it's because you need something else. So
Oh,
we got to lower our banner of arrogance and ego so that we can actually, reset and shift our mindset in a different type of way, because things are constantly in change, isn't it? Life is constantly in flux.
mm.
And so we have to think of ourselves like that, kind of how can I always look at things with a fresh eyes. So that's my business I'm doing. Also, I've got another business that I'm starting, which is more around fashion and clothes and accessories. So that's called um Lenovo.
Okay, okay.
Lenovo.
Yeah, okay.
You
Are
know what I
you
mean?
any social
Lenovo.
media around that or website?
We're building that brand. So we're going to do we're going to do a pop-up stall in Brixton on August the 9th. So
Okay.
it's part of the
Yeah, I'll
Jamaican
come to that. I'll come to
Independence.
that. I'll come to that.
Yeah, so I'll send you the details. And so again, it's like we want to do something different. So we're kind of utilizing local designer who makes her own clothes, and then bringing in that's just on products that people find difficult to get. So we're gonna, I know a lot of businesses. So there's the Shorngate stone. A lot of people looking for that for their home, for their phones to protect them from all these
Yes.
EMF
Yeah,
rays
yeah,
coming off
EMFs,
them.
yeah, electromagnetic field.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
yeah. So I will be selling products like that. So the dust particles for your phone, for your water, for your router. A lot of times people are not sleeping because it's because of all the radio and
Mm.
waves and stuff
Frequency,
going on.
yeah,
So
of course, yeah, yeah. Mm.
yeah. So
Mm.
we got one for the room. We got ones for your car. We got ones for children sitting in front of that computer. We got small ones that the children can wear. So
Yes, yeah,
so
I need
just
a couple
bring
of them. I need some of that then. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it's again like bringing again. It's my thing is always about health and well-being. It's like as well as enjoying ourselves, whatever. But we need to think about how we're investing in products and things that can protect us so that we can have longer and healthier lives. So
Mm.
so
That's a
our
major thing.
uh, yeah, so our fashion brand is just not just about fashion, it's about kind of bringing this kind of beauty wellness so it will come in different forms. So it will come in clothes, it will come, so we're going to have some beautiful kind of t-shirts made in Ghana, and just bringing something different and because I've met so many people with great products, we all can't be everywhere. We're not Lidl or Aldi or
Mm.
Tesco's or Sainsbury's. So
Mm.
the only way we can get our product services to a wider audience is that we allow other people to share
Yeah,
it and share our business in some sort of way.
yeah,
So
cool.
like now I've met you and I know you about your business. If I meet people, I meet someone who's got a business and they deal with one aspect of supporting family. I will say like, yeah, I know someone else who could deal with this aspect, and
Mm.
we've got to collaborate
Yeah,
more, especially
collaborate
in
more.
small
Yeah,
business.
yes. Collaborative partnerships. I used to think that was just a buzzword, but as I've got older, I said, yeah, it's serious because that's how smaller entities grow, and obviously they combine resources and knowledge, and
Exactly.
it shortens the pathway instead of taking, maybe 5, 10 years. You can do it like 2.5, 18 months. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen that with my own eyes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
So that's
inspiring. Mm. That you find
and that's
people.
brilliant that you was able to embrace that. Because many people, when I was working with the time banking, my role was to go and communicate with community organisations, voluntary organisations to do that. And the resistance, majority of them wouldn't do it.
Is it? To be fair,
Yeah,
what I noticed when I started to do more of the social enterprise stuff around, the family services, is that a lot of them is the values. They said, "Oh, what do you represent?" Say, for instance, I was at So I was at Split the Difference and Time Quest, and they were like, well, what are you doing, Sean? I don't think some of that stuff you're doing around dads and boys and men, sons, is, on the narrative. You won't get anywhere being like that, like for men's activism. I said, no, because it's equal stance to help women. But obviously, as a man, more men could approach, more comfortable approaching me than say women. They're like, no, 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 I don't think you should do that. So then I had a mental Be Well Hub grant. And they said, oh, we'll dial back on that and we'll give you that on the next round of funding. So you see things like that. It was all under the surface. I didn't know but I didn't know someone that, fun enough, someone that had been in my podcast said, look, this is what they're saying when you're not there, Sean. So I came out of it. So I know some of that is usually value based or the political narrative at the time or what they want to be associated with. And
Yeah.
that's what stops a lot of the collaborative partnerships, even though they might not tell you straightforward or to your face. So that's
Mm.
tell people you got to look at the synergy of what you represent and what you're about. And if it meshes well, don't just do it because like a drowning person trying to hold on and said, "Oh, please, can someone just help me or can you help me up?" No, you stay there. You can drown like what's that man in Titanic with the lady with Kate Winslet. No, Jack. You see, yeah, like that. That's what they're doing. They said, no, we don't be associated that. Or the man that said, listen, women and children first. No, I'm going on there because I'm rich. Get out of the way. Yeah, you get that. Yeah, I'm seeing that in this kind of social entrepreneur world with these kind of issues. You get a lot of that, and that's the kind of undercurrent of what goes on. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I remember I was helping a mentee and she wanted to go in again like in a voluntary community space. And what she wanted to do was kind of very close to other people in the area. She wanted to do the same area as them. And she said they weren't happy. I said, no, it's like she said they're like dog eat dog. I said, yeah, they got very kind of aggressive. And I said, yeah, because people get funded to look after a set of people and they think those people belong to them.
Mm,
So if you come along as another entity, it's going to be a catfight. And the voluntary community sector world, it can be very aggressive.
yeah. See.
Because it's like, yeah, because people are going to look, you're taking away my customer base. So the fact that people don't want to work with you because they don't like your customer base, that's better for you.
Yeah. See, that's the positive side of it. Yeah, yeah. Of course, because
Right.
it
It's
could
like,
become the monopoly, the dominant force. Yeah,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, I think you know what I mean? It's not nice to hear it, but that's great for you. It's like, okay, then, no one don't want to work with boys and men.
Yeah,
I'll take all of them. You know what I mean? Because,
yeah.
eventually it was interesting because I had just a quick side and had a conversation on yesterday with a friend and they were sharing that there was working out, I think it was Burgess Park, and they had a group of young men and there was a group of mixed young people and it ended up just being young melanated men left behind. And as they were walking away, he heard one of them say, "Yeah, but we women, girls and children get more love than men."
Yeah.
And he was like, he was questioning it,
Yeah.
questioning that. I know is that, and it's like, but that's their truth, that's their experience. And I said, and this is the thing. So as much as people might be going like, you're not on it, you are on it because this is how young, melanated young men feel. Like they don't, there's no love for them. So
Mm.
where how's that going to manifest in their life? You know what I mean? Where that's
Forcing
going
to
to go
misogyny.
with.
That's what I told them all the time. So that's how
Mm,
misogyny rises. They said, what you do, you take away the legs from that. You see, you mediate, you show duty of
mm,
care. I said, then that will lead to better outcomes for women and girls. Because said
yeah,
reasonable men, not embittered, not traumatized by bad experiences, exploding on people. Said this
yeah,
it's a symbiotic relationship. So to be fair, it's coming around more and more. I've noticed since lockdown, the rise has been much. It's starting to get better in terms of that. And they're thinking, yeah, we got to do something about it, because all this punishing them said, you're no good. This is toxic masculinity. This is the patriarchy. And they're like, oh, look, it's not going to get better. It's only getting worse. I said, see, it's true because BAWG is going up, it's going up, it's going up. He said, you got to have carrot with the stick. I said, the
yeah,
love, charisma, showing that you generally care about the other people's feelings. Like even the other day, I had someone that's on for, like, say, from the right wing background, And like Sean said, he said George is cross in the back when he's talking to you. He said, yeah. I said, but this is one of the first men that invited me on podcast like in 2019. And you wouldn't think that unconventionally, when you see how we talk, you'd think, how would David say this is how you build bridges? Because I listened to him about when he says white working class white boys
Mm,
struggling educationally and how they're doing worse than Afro-Caribbean boys. And I said, oh, really? I said, you got any proof? And then he showed me, I said, oh, well, that's what it looks like. I said, what do you think caused that then? And he told me, and I listened to him and showed genuine interest. I said, look, now he's inviting me on and he's come on mines and we're having reasonable discourse. I said, building bridges, not walls.
exactly.
And to be fair,
Exactly.
I'm gonna get a lot of people like that. I said, look, I said, I've had doctors on here, I've had some entrepreneurs on there. I said, how do you manage that? I said, yeah, because I don't have these preconceived ideas about people. If we get along and we can talk, have a conversation, and they're showing me proof, I'm not going to turn around and I said, oh no, because I'm black, man, we suffer the most. And no, that's not the case. So this is not the Victorian,
Mm,
yeah. This is 2026. So I said, you always have to check these things and update and said, well, maybe my thinking is old hat, or that's not the case. That might have been the case in the 90s and the noughties, but it's not like that in the 2020s.
yeah.
This is what you got to be keep abreast of, because otherwise you're going to alienate people because you got outdated thinking, and your thinking is not that of the current reality. So, but then you start,
Mindset reset.
oh, yeah, of course, yeah, it is, yeah,
Mindset reset. So
yeah.
I know we've talked a lot, but I just want to leave the so there's one thing I just wanted to quickly touch on is about, if you what type of business that you may want to go into that and I would suggest that people think really carefully is that you've had the experience and you are CIC, but CIC is not for everyone.
Mm,
And there's a lot of responsibility that goes with it, as you know. And
mm,
the same thing with a limited company, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with it. So if you're not too sure, don't jump on it. You can register yourself as self-employed. I think it's well, from when I last checked, you can earn up to £1,000 a year
is that
without
right?
having to
I done your
declare.
course the other day, remember?
Yeah.
But
So I just said, I mean, I don't just to say, I don't teach it on these courses. I don't do the masterclass. My role is I do outreach engagement. So I go and get people like Sean,
No,
gems
but
in
you're
the
right though.
community.
I remember that because it's a multiple choice question. So it is, it's £1,000. You're right. Yeah. So
Yeah. So and so take your time. And I always say to people, always be a startup. So my business is a startup, and I might start up a number of businesses. There's more support in startups than any other type of business. So you can start, yeah, you can have 5 startups on the go if you want to. So before you jump into registering your business, test it out. If you earn over £1,000 regularly every month, then register as a self-employed and build yourself slowly. The only reason you would want to register yourself as a limited company is that you've got a pending big contract. The contract is dependent that your company is limited, or you're getting an opportunity to go for big funding, and it's like you've got enough number of opportunities to go for a lot of funding, and so that's when you want to register as a CIC. It gives you it. And registering as a CIC or a limited company, any of those type of businesses, it gives a space between your personal and business. So liability wise, you can distinguish yourself and separate yourself. Do not register your business at your house address, please, especially you're in the service. We will pretend that we don't know. And if you have, please find an alternative address to register your business because, you don't want your clients to come knocking at your house.
That's
They
true.
can find all kind of
That's
information
true.
online, just like the scammers.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's true. Uh,
I've shocked so many people about that. I'm like, oh, I'm like, yes.
uh,
You
it's
don't want your clients turning up at your house at 2 o'clock in the morning, like, yeah, I need some help.
Yeah, no, no, Jesus. Yeah, thank God that ain't happened yet, but boy, yeah, it's true. It's true, everyone. That's a very key advice. Very key advice.
Yeah, so and the thing is that go into a business that you actually can have a laugh, you can enjoy it. You can involve other people in different type of ways. Go into something not just for the money or the prestige or the glory. It's actually you like it.
Mm,
You know, it's something that, you know, if you were on holiday, you don't need to holiday. You know, your business is part of you and it's like you don't need to run away from it. It's not, you know, it's not a job that you're just tied to and you've been there for 20 years. And it's, you know, you don't have to detach yourself in that kind of way when you're doing something that you really, you know, have fun with.
mm.
So choose something that if you, you know, and if you're in a business you're not having fun and it's really good, then sell it.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah, I've
start one
noticed.
day.
Yeah, that's how the big city brokers get multi-billion-pound deals. You know, it's they just build it up to sell it on. Yeah, yeah, because it's a cash cow. Yeah, yeah, I've seen that. That's to be fair,
Yeah,
the
you
investors
might
will
have just
get it.
exhausted. You're tired. There's
Mm,
nothing more you to do in that business. It's very successful, or it could be more successful. You don't like it.
mm,
Don't let it die. Sell it. I've seen so many people who have great business things. They started up, but they realize it's not for them. Instead of just packaging it and then selling it, they just let it die. Sell
mm.
it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that
Even if,
windfall
you
is
know,
windfall. Get a windfall from it. Mm, that's
yeah.
true.
If it's like 3 grand and someone then later on goes and makes 100,000, but at least you got 3 grand.
And yeah, of course, yeah,
If you
definitely.
got a business, a website address was a good name, sell it. I know someone had a really good website address, I won't say it. And they and I'm thinking, why did you change it? You could have made a you could have even if you didn't do the business anymore, that name could have gone on to be lots of
Mm.
other things.
Yeah, no, like
And they did,
McDonald's. Yeah, like McDonald's. The original Koch brothers, sorry. They weren't the ones that made the big money out of it. Yeah, it's someone that took over from them and grew it, and then they paid them off $1 million, and then look, what did they say? Something like 23 billion in the end, as he grew it as time went on. My word, it's internationally known when it wasn't started by him. Imagine their name, their thing, and he's taking it like the intellectual property, took the stores and the next amount and only left them with one. And the look is
yeah,
a
but
5 billion.
they could have ended up with nothing. So this
Yeah.
the thing is like one is better than these that got some money
Yeah,
from
no, they
it.
did. Yeah, obviously the $1 million were them time,
Yeah,
the 80s was good, but obviously for what it
exactly.
became worth.
I
Yeah.
know, but you need to know you know what I mean? It's like we that's that because I hear these kind of like experiences all the time. It's like, but you may not be able to do that.
Mm,
You may not have the infrastructure. It's like I met the founder of Innocent Drinks, Richard Reid, and he was saying that he came to my alumni and he was talking about building a business. He said that legit, you know, they couldn't take Innocent Drinks globally. They don't have the infrastructure. So we've looked at the reality of where we're at,
mm,
you know, we may not be the one who could ever take it onto that level.
mm,
So if you can make money from it and give it to and pass it on to someone, not give it, who
mm,
can, then
mm.
let it go. If you may not be able to take it on the level. You may try and go big like I did, and then it crashes. So I think don't you know, don't be too precious about the business. Make sure that whatever happens, that you don't end up losing because you're because of your own ego. It's better
Mm.
to get something than nothing. That's what
Nothing.
I'm
Yeah, of course.
always.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. That's the
You
truth.
know, so so look at and don't compare yourself to big businesses either, because behind the scenes, it's like when people think McDonald's make money from burgers, they don't make money from
They
burgers.
don't. They
They make
don't.
money from assets.
Yes, yeah, yeah. That's the thing that I was thinking for the film with Michael Keaton, because Michael Keaton was in it. I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah." The man turned and said, "You use a real estate business, really. That's what you're in the business of real estate. You got the land and you own the land that the stores are on, and then you've the one that put
Exactly.
in the people to expand it. So that's what I noticed when I saw that. That's when the thing said, you know what? They're not giving me what I'm due, so I'm gonna use that to take over. Yeah, but if they had been reasonable with him, he probably wouldn't have done that because they forced him into a corner, wouldn't give him more than what they agreed in his original contract. He said, you know what? I'm gonna take over then because I got the means. So yes,
Mhm.
it can end up like that too. See.
Exactly. And I think it's and another thing was that, I'm not sure with McDonald's. I mean, McDonald's must make money from their burgers because,
Yeah,
well,
they do. Yeah,
yeah,
they from the food they do.
we don't know.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, there's something in the burgers. What
mm,
it is, I don't know.
mm,
But so
mm.
they can make money because it's not the most expensive thing
Yeah,
to
it's not a
produce.
massive fast food. Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, and I think you have to kind of look at it also, um, ultimately when you're building your business, especially a product-based business, even a service-based business, you need to think, how can you control the whole chain?
Mm, mm, mm,
So how do you? So if you want to have success stories, how do you, even if you're offering a service, like how do you go and find those people who are really in need, who really are, they're on the verge, but they just don't have no one to support them to get access to services that will leverage them really, really quickly. How do you support the whole thing? Because once you get intermediaries filtering things, you're never going to be connecting with the right people who
People.
really going to utilize what you have to offer to transform their life. Because I think anything that we are doing, we need success stories, we need case studies that leverages us. If
Mm,
you keep on having people or situations or products that constantly are failing or just give up, then how does that, what I mean,
mm,
help you in your business?
yes.
Not like we can't look, but no, some people, and you do meet people who don't really want to be helped. They want to be seen they're doing the right thing, but actually don't want to change so
Mm,
that they can better people. And I think sometimes we can create products that it's not gonna work in that kind of way. It's not gonna give you the outcome that you're looking for. So I think is this thing of being able, because you're not controlling the whole chain. So like one of my products, some of the issues I had is that some of the good quality products that I use to make my product, they stopped trading. So they
mm.
had to look for another one. And then they stopped trading, they had to look for
Yeah,
another one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if I'm controlling that, if I've got a farmer that I get it directly
Yeah,
from,
the
and I,
farm, yeah,
I
you don't have
can
to worry about that. Yeah, that's right. The
exactly,
source,
because I'm giving his
direct to the
money
source.
directly,
Yeah.
and
Maybe
see,
one
and
day you
so
can have your own farm and grow it yourself, or yeah.
exactly,
That's what I think. We
exactly.
feel for our community. I hope one day we can be like that, where we can't be. See, like even with social media, YouTube can take you off the list. You Instagram just says, why can't we have a black Facebook or a black YouTube? You see, where we, like you said, we own the infrastructure. There's none of this renting and tenancy. Yeah, so that's eventually what I'd like to do with my people
Or
anyway.
punishment,
Mm,
punishment and reward. This is,
mm,
with YouTube and all these platforms. We love you, YouTube, but it is punishment or reward. If
mm,
you don't do the right thing, you get punished. Oh, if you do the right thing, which it changes all the time, then you
mm,
get a gold.
mm,
You get 100,000, a million followers, and then you get a gold thing. But they're kind of like barometer changes all the time. You don't know.
sure.
So if you're not on that, there's no way you could just. There is more and more things coming up, but yeah, it's like this is the thing that we have to consider,
Yeah,
and so that we don't, our success is not dictated by other people.
people, yeah. That's how I'm looking at the Oprah way. Yeah, how Oprah done it. I always look at that. Oprah.
Yeah, yeah. She
Mm.
had a lot of backers
Commercial stuff.
behind her.
Yeah, yeah, no, of course. And obviously some of
Yeah,
the affiliations, for me.
yeah. I think it's for you, but the thing is a friend, a really good friend of mine said these two, his father said these two hands can't make you a millionaire. So
Yeah,
you have to always remember that.
mm-hmm,
You need the help of other people, the
mm,
right people, what I mean, at the right time,
mm,
uh, and working together, being able to be flexible to work together with others. There's always someone that we can work with,
mm.
but it's whether we're open to that.
Yeah, cool.
So
Definitely. I agree. I agree. Well, thanks for coming on today. And
thank you.
yeah,
Rich conversation.
we must have to do another episode. And obviously, I'll be
Yeah,
talking about
we
some
can
of the
we can
business
we can
stuff.
do some deep diving.
Yeah, see, and obviously the events coming up. So the August the 9th, you said, isn't it? Yes. Send
August the
me the
9th, yeah.
details. Have you
I'll
got
send
any
you the
kind of
details.
any promotional flyers for the audience so that they might be able to come down there on August the 9th?
Yes, I can send you. There's a flyer. It's going to be inside Market Row, so inside Brixton Market. So not the village part, it's the other part, Market Row, where the Black Farmer is. So the,
Please,
the
yeah.
pop-up market will be inside. So it's for Jamaican independence. So that's what the pop-up market's theme. It's for Jamaican independence.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely plug you. Any kind of posters or pamphlet, electronic flyers, just send it to me and I'll put it up on my page as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant. Thank you so much. Brilliant,
Thanks for
brilliant,
coming on
brilliant.
today again.
Thank you. It's been brilliant. I
Where's
really
our
enjoyed it.
That's all right. And when there are people, there is power. Justice in our time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.